We want to talk about healthy lifestyles. The benefits of recreation are healthy lifestyles. Recreation is also an economic engine. As you see here in Bear Lake, people come here and the economy has really thrived because of recreation. And also the benefit of appreciation of nature. Okay, my first question is, I want you guys to think back to when you were a child. Obviously you guys are here, you've been groomed to be here. When you were a child, what was your favorite outdoor recreation memory? I mean, why are you so interested in outdoor recreation? I've asked a few people here from around the room if they could share their favorite childhood outdoor recreation memory. We'll start with Brian House.
My favorite memory is I grew up in Michigan, and just a fact of Michigan, and wherever you are in Michigan, you're never more than a mile from water of one sort or another, whether it's a lake or a spring. I grew up in Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is the second largest city in Michigan, and my folks had a cabin on Lake Michigan. And probably my favorite memory of growing up in Michigan was walking on the beach, either with my parents or with friends and relatives, just hanging out on the beach and having a good time.
Awesome, thank you. So the second largest city, so you're from the city then?
I'm from the city.
Okay. Next, I've asked Richard Rosbeck if he'd share real quick.
One of mine comes from Bear Lake, and you don't spend a lot of time up there, but I remember as a teenager just loving to water ski on a glass Bear Lake late in the afternoon just before sunset, and hardly any other boats around. You know, just like the lake at home with all mine.
It's always warm.
Yeah, as a teenage kid, the water's always warm, that's right. I've also asked Bryce Nelson, what's your favorite memory?
Well, I guess my favorite memory was watching my old man go hook the station wagon onto a 13-foot trailer house and have 5 kids, and never really knew where we were going or where we went. I always knew I could get away with things I couldn't get away with at home. We would see things, and parents were usually more worried about other things than the kids, and you could go out and have a lot of fun, and we got to see a lot of great country, much of which I've gone back through in my adult years, and every time I go past a campground I stayed, as a kid, I have fond memories of it.
You bet. Thank you guys a lot. I wanted to bring that up real quick. We all have memories of that. One of the things we did a lot about in my degree is we learned about why land was set apart for public use. Why have we found it a benefit to society as a whole to do that type of thing? I grew up spending a lot of time in Yellowstone. We'd spend 10 days every year up in Yellowstone. I also grew up snowmobiling. I love to be out in the wintertime snowmobiling. So anyway, let's talk about some of these benefits of why land like this has been set aside, and why we should preserve it. Real quick, healthy lifestyles. I might be the youngest kid in here. I'll call myself a kid, but whenever I talk to an older person than me, they talk about their childhood. They'd get out of school, and they wouldn't go home and sit in front of a TV. They'd be out playing. One of the papers I was reading was talking about a nature deficit disorder. Green space from your childhood has now been replaced by screen space. An average American child spends 44 hours per week in front of an electronic screen. I think it's accurate. I've got a couple little kids, and it's so easy to just put on a movie so they'll be quiet. But is this a childhood disorder, or is it something we're struggling with? Who's seen on TV, I watch a little bit of TV myself, who's seen on TV that guy that's got his BlackBerry phone and his wife puts on, some lingerie and he's sitting there on his BlackBerry phone? I think even as adults, we spend so much time in front of a TV, in front of a computer, on our phones, that we've got this disorder as well. Okay, here's a quote. Fishermen always have the best quotes. You see bumper stickers and stuff, but this one's from President Bush. He says, "I love to fish because it is totally relaxing. I love the water. I can concentrate and forget all my worries. I count my blessings while fishing." I know when I got into the outdoor recreation field, a lot of people would say, why do you want to do that full time? This is what people spend all week long working for, is to come out on a weekend, spend the time on a lake with their family. They're so stressed out, all they want to do is get away and be in the outdoors. So definitely healthy lifestyles, being out indoors is a benefit. Okay, an economic engine. Real quick here's some figures that you can always make numbers look however you want. However, studies have been done and it shows that 1 in 20 jobs can be related with recreation. I think in Bear Lake those numbers are definitely a lot higher. Estimated $730 billion economy. Just like I said, people work all week long so they can recreate. And that's why there's so much money involved in recreation. One of the terms we used a lot in college was called the ripple effect. If you throw a single rock into Bear Lake, it puts off little tiny ripples. If someone goes out into the outdoors, they spend a little bit of money. However, what happens when multiple people get on Bear Lake on a July day and there's not a single bit of wind? Do those ripples finally create waves? You bet. That's why in the morning and late at night, when there's no other boats out there, it's as smooth as can be. But just a little bit of money, multiple people putting money into this engine will create a ripple effect and really add up quickly. A gateway community. A lot of our Western recreation is formed in little communities that were once, farmland, mining land, and now they've turned into recreation land. And we call them gateway communities. One example is Moab, Utah. How many booms and busts has Moab gone through over the years, through mining and everything like that? Now it's a recreation community. And I want to relate that real quick here to Bear Lake. Why is Garden City, why are there so many cabins up here? It's because of the lake. It's a gateway community to the lake. The difference in climate between here and Randolph? Not a whole lot. Why does everyone live here? It's because of the recreation involved. They're both pretty well identical places. The one has a lake, and that's why the economy here is so much better. Is that a good thing or a bad thing to be a gateway community? Both, yes. Correct. I think that we've experienced here, and I'm sure Paul will talk about it a little bit here after me. So many things in the gateway community can explode quickly. People make money, but then once something slows down, man, we've way overextended ourselves. A lot of the things to do with recreation are steady. Up here, every summer we know we're going to have a certain amount of business. But other things involved with it are not steady, and that's something we need to plan for. There's a pretty good article about Teton County in Idaho. I think their county is quite a bit like ours. In 2005, they went through the same boom that we did. And the article said they had 8,000 residents in Teton County, Idaho. Within a couple years, they jumped to well over 10,000 cabins. Is that sustainable? You can't keep up. So that type of thing, it's not always good to be a gateway community, and that's something we need to plan for, and whether good or bad. One quick thing about economics here. While at college, I did a study at the St. Anthony Sand Dunes. Who's ever been to the St. Anthony Sand Dunes? Okay, pretty neat place, isn't it? What do people do there? Awesome, yeah, you bet. It's a sand dune mainly for motorized vehicles. Utah State did a survey for the BLM to decide what people do there, what people want the BLM to provide for them. And one of the neat things that I learned about was, what do people spend money on up there? I'm going to list some things up here on this wall here behind me. I'm not sure if Claudia will help. What do people spend money on? You bet. Okay, there's multiple things that people stated they spend money on. And I think we can look at Bear Lake in the same way. If someone went to the St. Anthony Sand Dunes, if somebody came to Bear Lake, Utah, or Idaho, what would they spend their money on? What's the greatest expenditure they had? Gas money? Okay. The largest by far was camping lodging. Okay. This is going to include large fifth wheels to carry their machines, cabins. Is that not probably the largest expense up here? Is where are you going to sleep? Where are you going to sleep is the number one. I'll just kind of go down the list through these. And I want you to look at the benefit of preserving through a government system a land such as the St. Anthony Sand Dunes. Number one, camping lodging. Number two, auto parts. Got machines there. OHV parts, gas, groceries, sporting goods. Clear at the bottom is government camping, and then restaurants, probably because most people bring their food with them. Is that not kind of the same thing up here? I look at Bear Lake. We bring in quite a bit of money, but look how much money at our state park, but look how much money is spent in other things, dealing with food, with housing, with gas. All these other things is what our community relies upon. So kind of neat. It was a neat study. It'd be neat to do that same type of thing here in Bear Lake. Okay, an appreciation of nature is definitely something important with recreation. I have the opportunity up here to work with the Boy Scouts. When you talk about appreciation of nature, the first camp you take a boy out on, what does he want to do? He wants to burn the whole forest down. How many boys want to go out there and instead of lighting off fireworks, want to pick up trash? I think it's almost in our nature to go out and use the forest for whatever the heck we want. I think when we spend time in the outdoors, I look at these three guys that I asked to share stories with. They don't abuse nature. They've learned to appreciate nature through their experiences as kids. I really enjoyed the presentations that we've had about water. What a benefit water is for us. I think that's one of the reasons why we've set so much stuff aside, for government to watch over so that we have clean water to drink, clean water to play on, and all that type of stuff. So what's our responsibility when we're out recreating? Why are we here? Spend a lot of time listening to people complain and about the beach, and people praise the beach. I'd like to real quick praise what Sovereign Lands here in Utah has done. I spent a couple years while they went through their management plan, took people's comments on how the beach should be managed. What is the responsibility? There's so many differing uses. How do we preserve that for the future? I'd like to clap my hands for all of you guys for being here today. Only working together can we get anything accomplished. Real quick, here's two opposite perspectives, another fishing quote. Charles Francis Adams, grandson of President John Adams, recorded in his diary, "Went fishing with my son today, a day wasted." On that same day, his son, Charles' son, Brooke Adams, printed in his own diary, "Went fishing with my father today, the most wonderful day of my life." That's why we're here, guys. We're here to preserve these memories and make them with our kids. These are my two little daughters. I love them more than anything. I want to preserve Bear Lake so they can have the same memories that I have. The end.